Welcome guys to another video. Like you guys are going to see now, I have piston slap on this motor, the white Golf 1. It's not a bearing knock, piston slap, so we're going to be stripping the engine. Like you guys heard, it's sounding quite bad. It was a slight rattle when we first got the car, but I left it like that. And recently I'm having a problem where if I leave the car to sit for a while, like 2 days or so, when I'm starting it, I'm getting blue smoke. So that should be valves and seals. Possibly could also be bad rings, plus I'm getting piston slaps. So I'm going to be tearing down this motor today. First, I want to open up the sump and check the bearing itself, check the big end bearings, and then I'm going to be removing the cylinder head and I want to check what's going on in this engine. It's pointless me doing a compression test because I can tell that the engine is smoking and I know what a piston slap sounds like. So follow through with me. Let's strip and see the condition of this motor inside, and then we will know what to do and what steps we're going to take. Okay guys, we're underneath the vehicle now, and there's a 19mm drain plug to take out the oil from the sump. I'm going to put a container under, remove the sump nut, drain the oil, and then I'm going to go about removing all the sump nuts to drop the sump out. Okay, so I was checking all the big end bearings one by one. The way you would test this, you would grip it by two ends and you will wiggle it around, either left to mostly like vertically. You're going to wiggle it towards the engine's firewall and towards the cradle of the car. So as you wiggle it, you're not supposed to get no play. Sorry for the bad camera angles here, but I wiggled number one and I did the same for the rest, and all the bearings were looking fine, but I just wanted to see. So I took my 40mm socket with a ratchet and an extension, and I went about loosening the two bolts on number one piston on the connecting rod. You loosen the bolts and then you are just going to wiggle the cap off, and when you wiggle the cap off, then you'll have access to the bearing and you'll be able to remove the big end bearings. So that's what I'm doing here. Once you remove the bolts, just take a screwdriver and just tap it slightly on each end to remove the cap itself. Don't put too much of force, just do it gently so you'll be able to pull the cap off evenly. So I have my bearing, my top half of it and the bottom half. These bearings are not too bad. Okay, got some sort of roughness to it, but I can tell these bearings have been changed before and it wasn't in bad condition at all. You can see it here. Usually you would find the bearing has blue or it has hot marks on it, and you would see it eaten up in certain places. That's how you'll know it's bad. Okay, so here comes the part where I start stripping everything from the top half of the engine. I'm starting with the carburetor, and then I'm just going to remove all the cables and all the wires, the water pipes, everything that's connected to the cylinder head has to get disconnected, because I'm going to be removing the cylinder head to see the condition of the pistons and what's going on inside those cylinder bores. Okay, the carburetor is removed here. That's the first thing I took out, and you know the drill with the carburetor. 10mm bolts, four of them holding it down. You're going to remove that, and the reason I did that was because I'm going to be removing the intake and I'm going to be removing the exhaust manifold. Usually I would remove the, the 6 bolts that's holding the exhaust to the flange, but I'm doing it this way here because I have a problem with the flange. So on your intake there's 6 Allen key heads that you're going to be using, a Allen key Torx or a normal Allen key that's long enough. Remove the 6 bolts and then you'll be able to remove the intake, and then we'll get to the exhaust manifold. Now that leaves us with the exhaust manifold. I explained the reason why I didn't want to use 6 bolts and just take the whole head with the intake and stuff, because like you guys can see there, they had some filler and I didn't want to interfere with it because the bolts are broken. So I'm going to remove these nuts here. There's 8 of them. We are going to remove the nuts and take the exhaust manifold out, and then I'll continue with the rest of the procedure. So yeah, took out the 8 nuts, and all you have to do is just grip the manifold, pull it back and leave it to the ground. So yeah, now it's time for me to remove stuff like some fuel lines, and make sure that I remove the alternator bracket or move the alternator away. Whatever is connecting to the cylinder head, I'm going to take it out, take out the cam belt, take out the choke cable is running there, take out all the water pipes first before I can remove the cylinder head. Because if you don't take out your water pipes and stuff, when you pick the head up, all the water is going to fall into the cylinder bores. So make sure you guys try your best to do it as neatly as possible, and try your best to double check what you are doing, because you don't want to get to the point where you're taking out the head and then you have stuff stuck. So removing all the tappet cover bolts here in order to remove the tappet cover and get to the cylinder head bolts, which I'm going to show you a special tool that you would need to remove it. You would need a 12 triple square bit to open it, and then what we're going to do, we're going to start from the center going out. So start with the center bolts going out either direction. Take your time with it, make sure that the bolts are placed, make sure that the spline is placed nicely inside the bolts before you start turning. I was just moving some stuff out of the way, and just like that, carefully lift the cylinder head up and leave it in a safe place, obviously. Okay guys, let's see what we're working with here. From the top I can see that there's oil in the pistons. You can see that as well. Yes, I dropped a bit of water inside them and I'll remove the head, but there's definitely oil there. Let me see the condition of the cylinder head. Hopefully everything's good. Yeah, it's looking good from the top. I need to turn it around, but back to the piston. From what I can tell, the pistons does have play. Number 2 and number 3 are up. And if you noticed oil on the sides that I'm pointing at only, then you would know that it's only valve stem seals that is causing the problem, because that means the cylinder is getting washed on those sides. But in my case now, I have oil throughout the whole piston, so that is a bit concerned. I'm worried about the rings. You're going to hear now, I'm going to show you some piston snap. Getting piston step. So I continue to do this for all the pistons. I rotated the engine by hand for number 1 and number 4, which wasn't bad, but 2 and 3 were quite noticeable. So the noise that I was getting was definitely piston slap, because it's more noticeable when the engine is cold, and then as it warms up it's not so bad, but it is there. I was just checking the cylinder bores to make sure that there's no ridges. How you would know, you would run your fingernail up and down on each of the bore, and if your nail grips to the top or grips onto anything, that means that the bore took a lot of wear in its time, and it's time for you to do a rebore. Either go with a 20 thou piston and a 20 thou rebore, um, or if you already have a 20 thou, then you have to go 40 thou. But currently everything is standard here, and the bores are looking good because I felt it, everything physically and visibly it looks good, but I still have to do more tests on this engine. But I think I have to do a rebuild. I'm not sure if I'm going to remove the block itself or just do everything on the engine, but I need to sort the valves and seals out as well. So let me just go to the, can you see that it's so much of movement? Let me go to the cylinder head and see what's the condition of that. Okay, in general, when your valve stem seals are giving up, it's more noticeable on your intake valves because the intake is sucking in and it sucks in oil and air, while the exhaust valve is pushing out. So it doesn't suck in a lot of oil into the cylinders, it pushes oil out. So the exhaust valves are looking good, but I'm noticing that the intake valves has oil residue on it, and it has to be fixed. So most probably the oiling problem that I'm having is the piston rings are starting to wear out. So eventually in the next few months or so, as I accelerate, I'll get smoke. But for now, it's only smoking if I leave it to idle for too long, or if I switch it off and then start it back up. So currently I have the begin bearing on piston 1 out, so I'm going to go under the vehicle and I'm going to knock the conrod and the piston out to physically see the condition of the ring, and I want to see the condition of the piston itself and see from there how bad is it, and I'll have an understanding of all the pistons depending on one. I've been looking at the rings and stuff. They seem to be okay. But what I'm noticing, you'll see the piston on the skirts of the piston on all sides, it's scraped badly, which means that these pistons are rocking in the cylinder. It's not going like, firmly up and down. As it's going up and as it's going down at some thousands of RPMs, um, it keep on rattling and knocking, and that's the noise, and it's not good for the engine. So yeah guys, stay updated for the next video. Most probably I'll do the build on the block itself, but I need to do more tests on the cylinders to see what if I do need a rebore. But I checked everything looks good so far. Maybe a new set of rings and bearings will fix this issue, but stay tuned for part 2 until the next time.